Hello everybody and welcome to OmniPoke, the channel that brings you guys everything Pokemon. I'm Jack and today I'm here with my first round of the Limitless Qualifier 1 that took place last weekend. I decided to do something a little bit different this time. I went with recording all my games and then post-commentating them rather than recording them and like live commentary, just because I kind of wanted to focus on the game. There's some argument for both, but I also didn't want the added stress of if anything goes wrong with the recording or anything mid-game. So I just wanted to record them all and post-commentate them. It also gives me a chance to speed them up and stuff like that. So all of this kind of stuff. And there's also a couple of points where things lag and stuff like that, so I can kind of guide what's going on in the situation as well. But yeah, first off, I want to say thank you very much to everyone over at Limitless for organising this tournament. The tournament was fantastic. I unfortunately didn't do great, but that doesn't matter. I was super pleased with how smooth it was, how everything ran. It was really, really enjoyable. So yeah, props to those guys. We really appreciate you. I decided to play ADP Zacian, the deck that I have easily the most familiarity with in this format by far, but also I think it's one of the best decks, if not the best deck in the format as well. So it was something familiar and it was very, very strong. It was kind of targeted, but nonetheless, I felt like it was the best play for me. There's a couple of dodgy matchups, a couple of things I really didn't want to hit, but either way, I was pretty happy. I decided to play catchers instead of great catchers, just for a little bit of trying to win some variance in some best of one scenarios, which you'll see actually goes favourably and poorly throughout the tournament. But yeah, this was my first round. I was up against a Baby Blacephalon, which naturally isn't the best matchup. But even so, there's things you can do in the matchup. First off, we have a fantastic start. We've started Jirachi and a Zacian and an ADP, which are basically, you need the Zacian and the ADP early, but also we have a Jirachi start as well, which is just amazing for being able to search out extra tools to try and keep up with them in the early game. This was one of the biggest issues I had to deal with throughout the tournament. Unfortunately, my computer kept on freezing, which is really, really quite frustrating. But again, that's why I wanted to post-commentate, so I can kind of guide you through what was going on. As you see, these little glitches and freezes happen. It was quite annoying, but I managed to get through it. So yeah, I tag call for some supporters for next turn. Obviously, you can't use a supporter on your first turn anymore. We do Stellar Wish into the escape board, and we do have an attachment on the ADP, which is really, really big. And then we get to Intrepid Sword as well. So we have a pretty strong turn one to be able to keep up with this Baby Blacephalon. We also managed to get an Absol down as well, which is huge for being able to trying to slow them down again and make things harder for them to knock out the ADP on turn, or the turn after we GX. That's kind of their win con, trying to kill the ADP and just go ahead of you that way. So he goes for the... he does hit the Heat Factory, has started Cramorant, which is really, really big for us. We want to try and take 3 prize Pokemon rather than having to get 3 knockouts here. That's another reason why we run the Mawile as well, to try and Grinch some basics. We do see him discard a Welder early to try and search for some energy with the Flint. And he then Welders, he has another one in hand and Welders to the bench. Obviously, he needs a switch to be able to retreat this Cramorant, so he's probably... that's probably why he then decides to attach and go for the Beak Catch to grab 2 cards to help him set up and try and guarantee that turn 2 knockout on our ADP when we come up and use our GX attack. So with that being said, we do hit the Chaotic Swell, which is really, really nice. It means that we can get around things like Giant Hearth and Ultra Space. So yeah, hitting that is very, very nice, even though I am going to decide to Guzhala here in any way. So we would have hit it anyway, but it's just one less card that we have to get. So I went for the Dedenne as well, because this looks like a turn where I'm probably not going to be able to draw too many cards otherwise. So Dedenne is the direction I decide to go in. Vitality Band is pretty useless in this matchup, so I decided to search that because we're going to be discarding it, and I'm probably going to need the escape board later down the line, I think. So rather than bench it and use it just for the sake of it, let's just ditch this Vitality Band, which is just not a useful card in the matchup. I'll go for the Mawile, hoping that he's gone for some kind of Dedenne play or something, and I can see that he has double switch, Victini and Jirachi. Obviously, he doesn't have any 2 prizes, So I'm debating putting these two down, and then I decided to just put them both down, just because he was probably putting them down anyway, but also if he didn't want to put any of them down, I'm forcing him to put them down. So it still kind of gives me some power in the situation. And then Dedenne away, we hit a Marnie, which is really good for next turn. Marnie is one of the biggest cards that you want to look for to be able to disrupt a Baby Blounce from building a big hand and being able to get a lot of fire energy to knock you out. So I'm pretty happy seeing this Marnie. We also hit some sources as well to be able to set up this Zacian, which is really, really nice. And yeah, then we go for the ADP. He goes for the pretty standard turn we expect. He switches into the Jirachi, grabs some energy with the Flint. We know he has a second switch in hand, so we know he has access to being able to attack this turn. So it kind of all depends on what he hits from this Jirachi. We know he has 5 energy right now, so he's going to need a card that gets him energy, another Flint, or an energy retrieval, or a fire crystal. They're the kind of targets he's looking for. He has an adventure bag. An adventure bag is going to search him a lucky egg and a Beastbringer. These two are another 2 really, really important cards for the deck. Beastbringer meaning that his Blown will take 4 prizes on this ADP if he has 6 prizes remaining, which again is just insane value. It means he only has to then kill 1 Zacian, which is crazy. And the lucky egg helping him build his hand back up in case anything sort of goes wrong and he has to sacrifice this Cramorant. Now, interestingly, this is where the game turns interesting, I think. He discards another Beastbringer, which is really big, to search for Dedenne. So I know he only has sort of 2 energy in hand right now, or I'm pretty sure he only has 2 energy in hand right now because he decides to Dedenne. He actually has 3. So that's not quite a knockout. So here he's looking for maybe more Flints, maybe more crystals and stuff to be able to reach that 6. But then he shows me that he discards an... he quick balls, which discards 2 cards, and then searches for another 2 prizer. So now my win con is super clear. We have 2 prizes already on the board, which are 3 prizes with ADP's GX attack. And it looks like he's getting ready to bench a 3rd in this Oricorio as well, which is really nice. At this point, I know he's going to have a pretty strong hand to be able to get the knockout here. He does have 1 fire crystal, so I'm starting to get scared. He then hits an energy retrieval. I'm like, oh god, this is over. Benches a Blown. And then, instead of... Well, we know he has 5 energy and an Oricorio, so it's whether this last card is an energy. So he waits around a bit, and then he makes a very, very interesting play. And I don't know, I haven't played enough Baby Blounce to know whether this is correct. I'm pretty sure it wasn't, though. But he does decide to go for... we'll see it in a moment. He decides to go for a very interesting Fireball Circus for 250 damage. Now, I don't know whether that's ever correct, because that seems super sketchy. He opens me up to only having to Ultimate Ray here, which is really nice. I can save this Marnie because I know he has nothing in hand, and I can wait until he's built up another big hand. I get to set up a Zacian for free, and basically I'm just ahead now. Even if he were to take 4 prizes on this, even if he were to get the knockout on here, he's discarded 2 Beastbringer. So at this point I'm like, there's no way he plays 3 Beastbringer, right? We still can't see lists at this point, so I can't check, but once I see the second Beastbringer gone, I'm like, there's no way he can play 3. So I feel pretty confident just hitting into this Baby Blown with the ADP, knowing that I'm probably only going to be giving up 3 prizes on this, which kind of puts me in the favourable prize trade. So I don't need to worry about doing all the Metal Saucer and finding switch stuff. And I set up 2 attackers, just so they're both 1 energy away. I have saucers, I have outs for a lot of different ways to attack next turn, even if I lose this hand. Debatably, I should have just set up a Zacian or something instead. And probably on reflection, maybe setting up a Zacian was correct. But either way, I feel pretty confident here. So yeah, he promotes the Jirachi and does indeed bench the Oricorio. So as you can see, he's already started building up this big hand. And we're kind of looking at ways he can get back into the game are looking few and far between. He's going to have to kind of cause some hand disruption here. He does hit his 3rd welder. I think it was his 3rd. Maybe it was his 2nd. or his second in the bin at least, to set up this Victini. This Victini taking this knockout here, again, I feel pretty confident with this based on the fact that I'm getting a free knockout because of this. I'm basically always ahead in this prize trade, so I'm feeling pretty confident. I know he needs to do something pretty spectacular to get back into this game, which is, I don't know, it gives me some confidence because this isn't a strong matchup usually. He does shuffle a lot of energy back into the deck, which is really good for his Blown outs in future turns. But again, I have this Marnie, I have sources, so I have multiple prizes. I have every attacker I'm going to need for the rest of the game. I can thin my deck a little bit and just try and prevent myself getting random stamped and stuff like that. So yeah, I feel pretty confident. I can also, I can also save this custom catcher. As you can see, I'm playing regular catchers, as I've mentioned, to try and just help cheese some people in best of one, which is nice. I actually go for the Sycamore there. I thought I went for the Marnie there. But yeah, I like I say, I'm feeling pretty ahead. I've got 4 customs left, I believe. I go for the Wily Bite here, knowing that this, even though it's doing 200, this theoretically is the weaker of the 2 attacks, so I want to save Zacian to be able to guarantee I can knock out anything. Doing 260, he could put a random walling Pokemon down that if I lose this Zacian, I can't quite kill with Mawile, so I attack with the Mawile just kind of for the sake of knowing that I have a guaranteed knockout with the Zacian next turn. And again, I'm feeling like he has to do something pretty spectacular here to be able to turn this game around. So yeah, this game goes down pretty much how you'd expect. I believe he knocks out this Mawile for me to then take the last 2 prizes. Kind of spoilers, I guess, but even so, the game is kind of winding down anyway. It's a very, very interesting sort of back and forth, this matchup. I don't know that I like it, but yeah, either way. That was my first round. Thank you very much for watching, and make sure you look out for more rounds in the future of my journey through the first qualifier.